All right, and we are back at it again. This is going to be similar to the previous videos I made where I'm trying to cross over cards to different grading companies based on different factors and criteria of the specific card and what it's currently graded at and by whom. So, with that being said, I'll just talk a little bit about these three cards that I have here that are all graded, and then I'm gonna crack out and send to different grading companies. So similar as my other videos, but with a little different twist. So on the left here, as you can see, we have a 86 Fleer Jordan sticker graded in SGC 7. This card, I think it's really nice. Obviously, I mean the centering is pretty much perfect, maybe slightly off left to right, maybe 55, 45 top to bottom. The issue with this card is that it has like a little bend on the corner there, that top right corner. Not sure if it's able to be picked up here in the camera, but you can't really tell. But either way, I think it's a fair grade. However, I think it would do much better in a BGS slab with the subgrades visible. You know, if it gets a 9 or 9.5 centering, I think that can go a long way in terms of value. And I don't see that corner issue really bringing the corners grade down below a 6.5 or a 7, and all the other corners are nice and sharp and the edges are decent. So I think it should get at least a 7 from BGS, maybe a 7.5. So on to the 87 Fleer Jordan, second year, graded a mint 9 with a print defect qualifier. Looking at this card, again, the centering is impeccable. The corners are razor sharp. I mean, I looked at this in at plenty of different angles with different lighting, and the corners are pretty much perfect. Centering is pretty much perfect. Maybe slightly off left to right, but not much. I mean, it's really, really a sharp card. The only issue is the print defect. Now, this is really strange because if you watched my last video, I had a Jordan that was graded by Beckett. It was graded a 9, and I sent it to PSA, and it got a straight mint 9 with no qualifier. The surface looks exactly the same, but it didn't get a qualifier. If you can kind of see those little, they call it snowing, I guess. It's very slight. It's more like above his right shoulder, if you can see those white dots. But my other straight mint 9, it had those, but it didn't get a qualifier. So not really sure what's going on with PSA and these 87 Fleers, because I'm pretty sure they all have surfaces like that. So I don't know what makes them give the qualifier and what doesn't. I guess some are worse than others, but this one looks the same. So, but again, similar to the 86 Fleer sticker, since the centering, corners, and edges are really nice, I think those can get really strong subgrades from BGS. You know, if they get 9.5s or 9s, that would look really good, especially centering. Centering is obviously, people will pay a premium for nice centered cards over poorly centered cards in the same grade. So this is also going to be going to Beckett. We'll see what happens there. Again, we have a 96 Topps Kobe base rookie, graded a 9.5 by Beckett. Again, if you watched my last video, you know how hard I failed on the previous one. I'm still convinced that PSA damaged it, but you know, I filed a claim with my the guy I go through for my PSA subs, and they did an investigation and claimed that there was no, they couldn't determine whether or not they damaged it, which I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure they did, but again, nothing I can do there. Just take the loss and move on and keep trying, I guess. This one is an old slab again, but the centering got a 10, and the surface got a 9 with all the other two got 9.5s. I couldn't, it's tough with Beckett slabs trying to evaluate the surface, especially older ones, because, you know, the cases tend to be a little scuffed up, scratched. So sometimes it's hard to tell what is on the surface and what's on the case. But I scrutinized it, and I don't know, I couldn't see much wrong with the actual surface of the card. You know, hopefully I don't crack it out and then look at it out of the case, and then it's, you know, got a nice scratch on it or something. But again, this is going to be going to PSA. PSA 10s are selling for about $10,000 right now, which is absurd. You know, I think like a couple years ago, this car was, the PSA 10 was like $150. So props to whoever has like 100 of those. Probably doing pretty well right now. Anyway, I'm going to crack these out, and we'll see how they look out of the cases.
1 hour later.
All right, so I just cracked all of these out. I inspected them thoroughly out of the slabs, and I did find a slight little surface damage on the back of the 86 Fleer sticker. Let's see if I can get it on camera here. So it was right up here. You could see that little dent by the bend and peel wording above the Bulls logo. That's really the only issue I could see with the surface. There was no wax residue on the back, which is really common on those, obviously, because they're the last card in the wax pack, and they would often get wax stains on them. This card is incredible. If you can see the surface there, I actually I just wiped it down with a microfiber cloth, but those white spots that looked like print defects, actually most of them came off. So the surface looks decent compared to how it did. Now it does have, and I noticed this before, there's a slight print defect there, that little fisheye, if you can see that. So if the surface gets a 9, I think this has a chance at a 9.5, but I don't think it will. I think they'll give it either an 8 or an 8.5. I would be happy with just a 9 from Beckett on that one, which I think is very possible if, you know, as long as the surface gets it at least an 8.5 subgrade. The others are solid. I mean, I'd imagine the centering would get a 9.5. The corners would probably get a 9, and the edges would probably get a 9. One of those might get a 9.5. The corners could get a 9.5. They looked really nice. So hopefully we can get a 9 out of that from Beckett. The Kobe looks amazing. I mean, I know I said this about my last attempt, but I mean, try to find a flaw in this thing. You know, I did clean it with a microfiber cloth. There was, I think, a fingerprint on the surface, which is possibly why it got a 9. I mean, it looked pretty bad, but I mean, look at this. There's nothing, absolutely nothing on that surface. Or, I mean, the corners are super sharp. Obviously the centering is a 10. That's what Beckett thought, so it's perfectly centered. I don't know. I mean, I think I might actually get lucky this time and get a 10 from PSA. I'm gonna lower my expectations a little bit. I mean, hopefully I get at least a 9, you know, but outside shot at a 10, I think it's worth the risk. So I'll be sending these out in a couple days. Unfortunately, Beckett just raised their prices on me. I didn't get them out in time to avoid that, but this will go Super Express to PSA. These two will go, what do they call it now? Premium 5-day. I might do the 2-day. We'll see. But yeah, hopefully we do well. I'll be back.